Well, welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name's Travis Drum. If you're not subscribed yet, do me a favor, click that button for me. All right. But in this video today, whenever you're watching, it's tonight at my house. I'm not going to get into anything theological or anything like that. This is not a Bible study. So if you came here for that, I'm sorry, it's not what it is. I, this past Thursday, Zach and I got to fly out um, and go to Virginia for the Berean conference this year, 2024. And we got home Sunday night, and I have just had an absolute whirlwind of stuff going on, trying to get caught up. And I'm finally to a point now where I can kind of, I guess, decompress a little bit. And so, what I wanted to do is just get on here and share my thoughts about the conference. This is just kind of a recap, overview of the things I saw and experienced, and so forth. And Zach did one on his channel a couple days ago. So if you haven't watched that, go check that out. But I guess I want to start by saying, it's really neat having followed David Curtis now for a couple of years and hearing him preach and teach a lot. You kind of feel like you know somebody, even though they have no idea who you are, quite frankly. And I mean, me and David obviously have become friends over the last little bit, but it was really cool getting to finally meet him and his wife, Kathy. And I just have to say, like, about these two people, because you never really know how people are going to be, right, in real life until you meet them. These are two of the most genuine, um, kind, welcoming. I guess if you wanted to just put a really good descriptor of how they are as people, the word I would use is hospitable. Because I mean, from the moment we got to the airport, like David's there waiting on us, picked us up, and we went and ate lunch. And anyway, just the entire time there, they were so good to us. And they're the type of folks that just make you feel like you're special, like you're somebody, right? And I know you think, well, man, you were a speaker. That's different. Well, no, they're like that with everybody. Like these are people that just love people, and it's really cool to be around. And we kind of can just tend to see the Bible side of David, the theology side, but this man is a pastor, and his wife is just a perfect companion for him in that ministry. Just super blessed to get this opportunity to go out there. It really did mean the world to me. It was a sweet time and great fellowship. But anyway, got to meet David and Kathy, and we went to dinner. I guess the first night, Thursday night, and I was mind blown at how many people came in early just to come and eat dinner together. So David always talks about the fellowship and how that's a big part of the conference. That's 1000% true. Like these people did not want to leave one another the entire time we were there. Like David's coming in for the next session, like, all right, y'all have to sit down, because everybody's just wanting to talk and hang out. And so we went to dinner, and I don't know, the first night there was probably like, I don't even know, 60 or so people there. And then the next day we all went and ate lunch, and I'm pretty sure like basically the entire conference came. So it was just super cool to see all that. So just that fellowship side. And I know a lot of these people, and I know that a lot of y'all are watching this or will watch this. It's neat to see how, a sad situation, because a lot of these people they're either not welcome in a local fellowship, or they just don't have one that, quite frankly, they can feel good about attending. I'll let you ponder on that as the hearer. But it is neat to see these people come together, and they may not have ever met. They don't know each other from Adam, and they're immediately just clicking like family. There is such a, I guess if I had to describe the atmosphere or the vibe or mood or whatever of the conference, it's just loving. Like these people love each other, and it's just really cool to see. And we're talking about, I met people from like Minnesota, Louisiana, Maryland, California, Florida, Indiana. I might have said that already, but there were people from everywhere there, and it was just really neat to see that play out the way that it did. Now, obviously, we got to hear a little bit of Bible teaching from some guys that, quite frankly, it blows my mind that I was even allowed to speak beside, because they're all so good. So Bob opened us up with Zechariah 14, and I think he did 1 through 4 in his first talk, and then he did another one later. And Bob, if you've never heard Bob teach, like this man is so thorough, and I think that's what makes him so enjoyable to listen to, because you might hear him talk, and you're thinking in your head, okay, well, I have a question about this, and then he answers the question that you asked in your head. Like Bob leaves no stone unturned, and he just always does a phenomenal job. And I got tickled. I don't think I told him this, but I may not have ever even shared this because these two things go together. But my wife and I last year, I'm going to tell a long story short. We applied for a local homeschool co-op, and the guys, three of the guys that run this thing, asked me to come meet with them. Well, I have another friend who is in this thing and holds the same views I do, and we knew it was about eschatology, so he was like, "Hey, I need to go too because this could affect me." And so we sat down with these three guys, and I think it was two pastors and a deacon, or a pastor and two deacons. I can't remember, but these guys opened it up asking an eschatology question. We had like an hour and a half long conversation. I don't remember how long it was, but we just walked them all over the place, showing them here's why we believe what we believe. And I guess the biggest point really that they made in the entire discussion was the guy brought up Zechariah 14 and Jesus splitting the Mount of Olives. And I told him, I was like, well, man, you got to understand. I said, this is apocalyptic language. It's not meant to be taken as literal physical. And I'll never forget it. He looked at me and he said, "Now, Travis," and he said it just like that. But that's all he can do. He can. Anyway, back to Bob. Bob is phenomenal. He did a great job, and Bob is a genuinely just great man. I've known who he was for a while now, and it was just really cool to finally get to meet him. And I appreciate his study. And he's going to pick up actually right where he left off at our conference this August. So, by the way, there's 30 tickets left. So if you're wanting to come to the Arkansas Eschatology Conference, you better get your ticket because this joker's about to sell out. So next was Jordan Grant. And Jordan Grant, in typical Dr. Jordan Grant fashion, just came in and blew everybody's mind with these two talks on thinking and how to think properly, how to work through some fallacies that we all probably naturally do, even if we don't mean to, just in our interactions, in our study, and so forth. And he said a lot of really good, thought-provoking, pun intended, things in those talks. But my favorite thing about Jordan is his big crescendo of the entire thing is that if you're going to argue from anything, you have to have an ultimate standard of truth. And that standard of truth is God's revealed word. And it was just very good. He tied the thing together very loosely. And Jordan will tell you, I'm a rambler. Well, that man can ramble better than anybody. He did a great job in both his talks. Mike did what Mike does. He was in Deuteronomy 32, and then he in the Song of Moses, and then he did another one just talking about these Old Testament guys like Joshua and Moses and so forth, and how they all pointed to Christ. And Mike had charts. He's gonna have the charts, and Mike's charts are super helpful. It's funny because the whole time Mike's teaching people, he's got their cell phones up and they're just snapping pictures of his slideshow because there's just so much useful information there. And even a passage like Deuteronomy 32, like I've spent a lot of time in there. Mike taught me so much in that talk. I mean, it was just such a blessing. And it was cool to meet him. Mike's a guy that I've talked to a lot, just through Messenger, through phone calls, text messages. I've asked him probably more questions than the poor guy has cared to answer. But he has, and it was neat to just finally get to hug his neck and tell him, I appreciate him and all the things he's done. But so that was Mike's deal. And then Zach, he gave, goodness gracious, he gave like the death knell to partial preterism in his first talk, talking about salvation from AD 30 to 70. And he put Philip Kaiser and Ken Gentry against Philip Kaiser and Ken Gentry and just kind of exposed some inconsistencies in the postmillennial world. And if you're in the full preterist camp, you probably came out of the postmillennial camp. And if you came out of that postmillennial camp, it's because you were seeing glaring inconsistencies like what Zach presented. Now, Zach's other talk was on basically the journey in the Christian life. I don't remember his title exactly, but just super good, super moving sermon. I think everybody in the room was teary-eyed when he got done because it wasn't necessarily, you hate to say something isn't theological because anytime you're talking about applying biblical living, it is theological. But when I say not theological, I mean, he wasn't like, here's some Greek and Hebrew, and I'm making this connection to this connection. It was a very practical sermon. And in my opinion, it was right on time. Like, that is a message that every believer, I don't care your eschatology, I don't care whatever, all your second tier, tertiary issues, whatever. Everybody should hear this because it's just so good and so compelling, about the way that we as believers need to live. And so, just really appreciated Zach for getting that done and presenting what he presented. And then I got to speak twice. First night, I just gave my testimony. Spent an hour telling my story. First, how I came to faith in Christ, and then secondly, just kind of the way God moved in my life after that point. And I've really been surprised. I got a lot of good feedback so far. Hadn't really seen anybody hating on me too bad yet. So, and then my second one, I talked about biblical symbolism, and I called it the eschaton and Zacchaeus. And so we looked at Luke 19 verses 1 through 10, and I just kind of made some connections, showed some things that Luke may be doing. Maybe he wasn't doing that, I don't know. But at the end of it, I kind of piggybacked off what Zach ended his with, and it was basically just a call to unity in the church. And I don't know. So far, I haven't got hammered over that. And I told Zach, I was like, man, these people are going to think I'm nuts. But so far, so good. But if you want to go back and watch any of those talks, they are on the Berean Bible Church YouTube and probably Rumble as well. I know they did the live stream on Rumble, so you can go there and check those out. But another side of this thing is it was really cool to just meet some people apart from the speakers that I've known at a distance. Like, I can't tell you how long I've listened to Burroughs of Berea, and shout out, to my boys for hooking me up with a T-shirt. But I actually got to meet Rick Welsh and Rick Carter and Cherry Lewis, and just really cool. You feel like these people. And I've been Facebook friends with Rick for a while, and he probably feels like he knows me. So, like, when we met, it wasn't like meeting a stranger. It was like, oh, hey, man, And I met some other cool people. And really, that's just a neat thing about it, is you get to meet all these people, and they're all at different stages in life, and yet you just get to see God working in their lives, and they're all so excited just to be there gathered. And I don't know the percentage of the people there that told me they're coming to Arkansas, but it was pretty high. And so we're looking forward to seeing some of these folks again this summer. But overall, this was just a wonderful experience. I don't really know how else to put it. I hope I get to go again. So even if I'm not a speaker, just to go. I told David, I said, man, I've been to a lot of conferences, and this is the most fun I've ever had at one. It was just a sweet time. They do a good job putting it on. They do a good job taking care of folks. So if you ever get the chance, if you want to go next year, when you see those tickets pop up for sale, you better jump on them, because this dude is selling out quick these days. And we all know that's because preterism is growing, and people are just hungry for the truth. I feel like there's, I hate to use these charismatic words, but there's kind of an awakening happening. And it's just really neat to see. But anyway, I know there was something else that I wanted to talk about in this, but I'll be honest with you, it's my bedtime, and I already forgot what it is. I have no clue. So I covered David and Kathy. I covered the speakers. Rick Welsh, of course, I had to cover Rick Welsh. I don't know. Anyway, it was a good time, and I guess this is probably an opportune time to wind this video down. But anyway, I thank you for watching. Again, if you want to come to our conference, go to eventbrite.com, type in Arkansas Eschatology Conference, and there's only, like I said, like 30 tickets left. So if you want to come, you better jump on that. But anyway, it's going to be a good time. We got a good lineup. And with that, let me say again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And I'm done. I'm incoherent at this point. Y'all have a good night.